Welcome back, and thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Now we want to join the Senior Counsel, Honorable Martha Karua, the party leader of People's Liberation Party. She's joining us virtually. Good evening, Honorable Martha. Good to see you, and thank you for making time.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Karibu anytime. Now let's get straight to it. 1 week since the June 25th protest, and we have had the government call those protests that were meant to be peaceful as an attempted coup. Perhaps this failure to respect the voice of people by the government, does it echo the spirit of Sabasaba?
It does, but I actually want to say that you can only use the word coup in relation to this rogue regime, which is trying to overthrow the Constitution of Kenya, arresting people for no more than expressing themselves, expressing dissent. There is a crackdown on human rights defenders across the country, a crackdown on youth belonging to political movements and vocal youth in the country. While there is total freedom for goons whose faces have been seen across the TV stations and across social media, stick-wielding goons who are working in cahoots with the police and who caused destruction and mayhem on the 25th of June this year. That is a spirited attempt to overthrow the Constitution, where thuggery is being sanctified and the lawful exercise of citizens' rights has now been criminalized. Not to mention the actions going on.
All right, Honorable Karua, I mean, you've talked about the fact that this is a right for citizens. And here we are seeing the Assembly and Demonstration Bill 2024, which has the backing of President William Ruto. And the Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen equally talked about it today. And it seeks to overhaul how Kenyans exercise their constitutional right to assemble and demonstrate. What are the implications of passing such a law?
The implications is that even contemplating it is an attempt to overthrow the Constitution, because you cannot amend the Constitution by a bill. You cannot limit citizens' rights without an amendment of the Constitution. So let them go ahead with their rubber stamp parliament and pass it, and citizens will go to the courts of law, which are the arbitrators. But let them remember that the sovereignty and ultimate power belongs to the people. And like I said this morning, no dictator has ever been able to completely bar the rights of the people. Not al-Bashir of Sudan, who was a strong man with a tough army and a police state. Not in Egypt, which was also virtually a strong state with a very strong army, yet the Hariri Square still happened. Not China, where Tiananmen Square happened. Not even Adolf Hitler was able to overcome the will of the people collectively. Never mind that they were helped by allies. But no dictator has ever survived, not Idi Amin in neighboring Uganda. So let them do whatever they will. Both Murkomen and Dr. Ruto have actually told Kenyans openly that they have no respect for the Constitution. By backing Murkomen's order of shoot to kill, an illegal order, because he has no business ordering the police to violate the sanctity of life. Yet, Ruto backed him instead of sacking him. These are two people who have clearly shown a spirited attempt to overthrow the Constitution. The people of Kenya must resist. And our youth, by expressing dissent on the 25th of this month and on any other day they have done so, have shown resilience and the true fighting spirit of Kenyans in resisting oppression. The same spirit exhibited by the freedom fighters who wrestled the colonialists and got independence, the same spirit of the second liberation is the same spirit I see with the Gen Z and with many Kenyans who support the push for respect for the rule of law and for respect for human rights.
And you know, as you say that, I mean, Saba is just a few days away. There are those who believe that, yes, demonstrations are the only language that the government understands, but also there are those who are fearing that the streets have become more dangerous. What would you tell to these youth? How do they soldier on, considering we're dealing with a government that is tone deaf, and on the other end, it's turning a blind eye to the rule of law?
The youth and anybody who might wish to express themselves by demonstrations, which are lawful and which are in the Constitution, we cannot tell them not to. We must warn Dr. Ruto and his rogue regime that they cannot continue spilling blood of Kenyans unnecessarily. They can't turn Kenya to a failed state by employing goons to assault and destroy property and then try to blame it on the youth. Clearly, trying to set a stage for a state of anarchy so that perhaps he may declare a state of emergency and avoid elections altogether. That is the way I interpret the statement that 2027, by Moses Kuria, there may be no elections. One way of interpreting it is that maybe there will be a consensus. But looking at the events around, the other reasonable, more reasonable explanation is that they will precipitate chaos to avoid elections, because it's quite clear that the entire country has rejected this rogue regime, and the ballot cannot save them.
Finally, even as we conclude, I mean, we're in an era where, number one, abductions have become common. We have been seeing them increase in the recent days. Police are killing the same people that they swore to protect while shielding goons. And on the other hand, we're seeing this is a pattern that is likely not to end anytime soon. For the young youth or the young Kenyans who are fighting this fight, perhaps a word of advice as we conclude?
Is that take care, but I want to address the security forces, whether the police, the army, anybody in the security sector. Please remember that you account personally, not as an institution. If you obey legal orders, Murkomen and Dr. Ruto will not be with you when you stand in the dock. You saw Ali going to the Hague on his own, not the police force. So please, know that you will answer individually. And remember, Kenyans are your brothers and sisters. You too have family. You would not want your family members killed or maimed and without any justification. Treat us as your fellow citizens. Obey the law. You do not answer to this regime, rogue regime. You answer to the Constitution of Kenya. It doesn't matter who has appointed you. They appoint you in the name of the citizens of Kenya. Please treat Kenyans as your fellow citizens and know that together we shall build this country, not destroy it.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable and Senior Counsel Martha Karua, who is equally the party leader of People's Liberation Party, for nuggets of wisdom. Of course, we continue monitoring this situation and we'll see what happens in the coming days. Moving on, President William Ruto has announced the renewal of a strategic partnership